Hi everyone, my name is Parul. Welcome to my channel Parul English Lab. In our today's video, I'll tell you what are simple, compound, and complex or mixed sentences. So please watch this video till the end because this will provide you more clarity about sentence construction. And after watching this, you will be able to construct long and difficult sentences in English very easily and without grammatical errors. So let's get started. First is simple sentence. Simple sentence is the one that has a subject and a verb or a finite verb. Finite verbs are main verbs. So a sentence that has a subject and a verb, that is called a simple sentence. Simple sentence is also called an independent clause. We already have done clauses. I have made a video on clauses wherein I explained all about dependent and independent clauses. So I will mention the link in description box. So if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch it. So we know that an independent clause always has a subject and a verb, and it can stand alone. It is a complete sentence and it has a meaning also. So an independent clause is a simple sentence. And we know that a clause, an independent clause, is always a sentence because it has a subject and a verb. And a sentence can have 1, 2 or even 3, 4 clauses in it. So now let's look at some examples. She is baking a cake right now. So in this sentence, she is the subject and is baking is a verb. Is the helping verb. I have made a video on helping verbs also. I will mention the link in description box. So is, am, are, was, were, to be verbs, these are all helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. So here is a helping verb and baking, bake is the main verb or a finite verb you can say. So here is baking, this phrase acts as a single verb. So she is baking. So subject and the verb. So this is a simple sentence. They reached home quite late last night. So they reached. So they is the subject and reached is the verb. So we have a subject and a verb. We can see a subject-verb agreement in this sentence. So it's a simple sentence and an independent clause. He is an intelligent student. So here he is the subject and is the verb. However, is the helping verb, but when there is only one verb in a sentence, so that acts as a main verb. So here this helping verb acts as a main verb because there is no other verb. So he is the subject and is the verb. So again, this is a simple sentence or an independent clause. Next is compound sentence. A compound sentence always has 2 or more independent clauses. And we know when there are 2 or more independent clauses in a sentence, then they are connected by coordinators or coordinating conjunctions. There are 7 types of coordinating conjunctions. I have made a separate video on coordinating conjunctions as well. I will mention the link in description box so you can watch the video. So there are 7 coordinating conjunctions: fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So these are 7 coordinating conjunctions. So whenever we have 2 or more independent clauses in a sentence, then they are always connected by coordinators. Now let's look at some examples. She is my best friend and I love her. So here in this sentence, we have 2 independent clauses. She is my best friend, first clause, and this is an independent clause because it can stand alone, it has a meaning. It doesn't look incomplete. So she is my best friend. This is an independent clause, and second independent clause is I love her. So again, this has a subject and a verb and it's a complete sentence. It's a complete clause. It can stand alone and it has a meaning. So here we have 2 independent clauses. She is my best friend and I love her. And these 2 independent clauses are connected by the conjunction and, which is a coordinating conjunction, and this is called a coordinator. He is a bit lazy, but he always completes his work on time. So here we are connecting two independent clauses by but, another coordinating conjunction. So he is a bit lazy. It's a complete clause. It is an independent clause. It has a meaning. So he is a bit lazy, but he always completes his work on time. Again, it's an independent clause. So here two independent clauses are connected by a conjunction that is but. Now let me give you one more example of a compound sentence wherein we have three independent clauses. I threw a ball and it hit Max badly, but he didn't get angry. So here this is a compound sentence because we know that a compound sentence has two or more independent clauses. So in this sentence we have three independent clauses. First independent clause is I threw a ball. Second independent clause is it hit Max badly. And the third independent clause is he didn't get angry. So here in this compound sentence we have three independent clauses. Let's look at this sentence. He was out of money, so he went to his friend and his friend gave him money. So again this is a compound sentence and it has three independent clauses. First is he was out of money. Second, he went to his friend. And third, his friend gave him money. So three independent clauses in one sentence. So this sentence is a compound sentence. Next is complex sentence. A complex sentence always has a combination of an independent clause and a dependent clause. Now we have done independent and dependent clauses. I have told you that I have made a video on clauses. So you will find all the details of clauses in that video. It has different types of clauses and their different categories. So dependent and independent clauses. Independent clauses, we already have talked about it, that a sentence that has a subject and a verb, a clause that can stand alone and that has a meaning, a complete meaning, that is an independent clause. On the other hand, a dependent clause is a clause that cannot stand alone, so it always leaves an unfinished or incomplete idea. So a dependent clause always needs an independent clause to complete a sentence and to give it a meaning. For example, my mom had slept when I reached home. So in this sentence, my mom had slept. This is an independent clause because it has a meaning. It is a complete sentence. My mom had slept. This is a complete sentence. When I reached home. Now when you say when I reached home, so this sounds unfinished or incomplete. If you say when I reached home, then the other person might say, then what happened? When you reached home, what happened? So you need an independent clause to complete this sentence, to give it a meaning. Okay, so when you say when I reached home, this looks incomplete and this is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. It needs an independent clause to complete the sentence. Let me know if you need any help. So let me know, this is a complete sentence. It's an independent clause. Let me know this. Let me go there. These are complete sentences, independent clauses. Now let me know if you need any help. So if you need any help, again this is an incomplete clause or a dependent clause because it doesn't make sense. It cannot stand alone. When you say if you need any help, then it sounds incomplete. Okay, so that's why you need an independent clause to complete the sentence. So if you need any help, this is a dependent clause. I got the job even though the interview process was really difficult. So again, I got the job. This is an independent clause because it's a complete sentence. It has a complete idea. So I got the job. It sounds complete. I got the job even though the interview process was really difficult. So even though the interview process was really difficult, this is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone and it needs an independent clause to complete the sentence. Let me give you one more example. children can't play until they finish their homework. So children can't play, this is an independent clause, it can stand alone. Children can't play until they finish their homework. So until they finish their homework, this is a dependent clause and it starts with a subordinating conjunction. Until is a subordinating conjunction. So until they finish their homework, this is a dependent clause. Now all these sentences can be reverted also. The meaning will not change. For example, if you say, even though the interview process was really tough, I got the job. So the meaning is same. It's just that whenever you are starting a sentence with a subordinating conjunction, then make sure that you put a comma after the clause, and when it comes in the middle of the sentence, then there should not be a comma in the sentence. Now the words even though, if, when, these are all called subordinators or subordinating conjunctions. I have made videos on subordinating conjunctions also. I will mention the links and you can watch those videos. So these are called subordinators, subordinating conjunctions, and a dependent clause always starts with a subordinator. So first word of every dependent clause is a subordinator. Now let's look at this sentence. I met the boy who called me yesterday. So I met the boy who called me yesterday. I met the boy, this is an independent clause. I met the boy. Who called me yesterday? So who called me yesterday, this is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. When you say who called me yesterday, so here who is a relative pronoun. I have made a video on relative pronoun also. You can watch that video. I will mention the link in description box. So relative pronoun are the words like who, which, that. They always describe a noun. Okay, so who called me yesterday? So here who is the word that is describing the noun. I met the guy who called me yesterday. So here who called me yesterday. So who is describing or giving extra information about the boy, and the boy is the noun. Okay, so these are called relative pronouns, and who called me yesterday, this is a dependent clause. He liked the jacket that I gave him yesterday. So here that is a relative pronoun. He liked the jacket that I gave him yesterday. So that is a relative pronoun because it describes the noun, the jacket. He liked the jacket, that particular jacket that I gave him yesterday. So this is a relative pronoun because this describes the noun. So here that I gave him yesterday is a dependent clause. So again, dependent clauses, they always start with a subordinator, and subordinators include a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. So subordinating conjunctions are like whether, although, even though, if, etc. And relative pronouns are like who, which, that, whose, etc. Okay, so dependent clauses always start with a subordinator, and subordinators can be either subordinating conjunctions or relative pronouns. I have made videos on relative pronouns and subordinating conjunctions. So if you want to know more about these topics, you can watch the videos. But relative pronoun always comes in the middle of the sentence. So this is the thing that you need to keep in mind. So these were all complex sentences, because complex sentences always have a combination of an independent clause and a dependent clause. And independent clauses and dependent clauses, they are always connected by subordinators, and subordinators can be either relative pronoun or subordinating conjunctions. And the last one is compound complex sentences or mixed sentences. Now they always have at least two independent clauses and one dependent clause. At least. You can have more independent or dependent clauses also, but at least two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Now let's look at some examples. I invited Max to the party, but he didn't come because he had lost his job. So this is a compound complex sentence because it has two independent clauses and one dependent clause. So when I say I invited Max to the party, this is an independent sentence or independent clause. I invited Max to the party. It has a complete meaning. It's an independent clause. Now next clause is but he didn't come. Again, he didn't come is an independent clause because but is a coordinating conjunction. It's a coordinator here, and he didn't come. It's a complete sentence. It's a complete clause. It can stand alone. It doesn't need any other clause to complete the sentence. So he didn't come. It's a complete clause. So it's an independent clause because he had lost his job. So because he had lost his job, so because is a subordinating conjunction. Because he had lost his job, it leaves an incomplete idea and it cannot stand alone. That's why it's a dependent clause. So two independent clauses and one dependent clause. This means this is a compound complex sentence. The child was sad because he was lonely and he had no one to play with. So here the child was sad. This is an independent clause. The child was sad because he was lonely. So because he was lonely, because is a subordinating conjunction, and because he was lonely, this is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. And he had no one to play with. So he had no one to play with. This is an independent clause, and is a coordinating conjunction here. So two independent clauses and one dependent clause. When Max reached home, he found that his mom was sleeping because she had worked since morning and she was very tired. So in this sentence, we have two dependent clauses and two independent clauses. So first is when Max reached home. So when Max reached home, this is a dependent clause. When Max reached home, he found his mom was sleeping. So he found his mom was sleeping. This is an independent clause because she had worked since morning. So because she had worked since morning, so this is again a dependent clause, and she was really tired. So she was really tired is an independent clause. So this way, this is a compound complex sentence because it has two dependent clauses and two independent clauses. So this way now you can easily make long sentences, difficult sentences, because it's very easy. It's just that you need to understand the basic concept. The basic concept is that simple sentence, any independent clause is a simple sentence that has a subject and a verb, and that has a complete meaning that can stand alone. That is a simple sentence. Now compound sentence is where you have two independent clauses and they are connected by coordinators or coordinating conjunctions, and those are fanboys. Now next is complex sentence. Complex sentence is a combination of an independent clause and a dependent clause. And when you connect an independent clause with a dependent clause, then you need a subordinator, because dependent clause always starts with a subordinator, and those subordinators can be either a relative pronoun or a subordinating conjunction. And then comes a compound complex sentence or a mixed sentence. Now a compound complex sentence always has two independent clauses and one dependent clause. And you know how you can connect dependent and independent clauses. So always try to make some kind of difficult sentences or long sentences. Try to join different kind of sentences with different conjunctions like coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions or relative pronoun. And this way you can really be creative and make long sentences. Now I hope it's all clear to you, and try to make some more sentences. And if you have any doubts, you can always ask me in comment sections. I will try to reply to you. So that's all for today. Please like and subscribe to my channel Parul English Lab, and don't forget to press the bell icon for future notifications. Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.